Hi, this is Everett. Everett's Watercolors. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to do another watercolor demonstration, and it's experimental. I'm going to try another techniques that I'm going to use with my larger brushes. But I'm going to pick mountain scene with a mountain stream, maybe some trees, but it's going to be a dramatic sky and stuff like that. So it'll be again a little different approach, but again experimental. So this watercolor I think you'll find interesting. So let's go to my painting table and let me get started. Okay, here's a couple of references. I took a couple I'm not going to use one photograph to do the painting, but I want to get a couple of references. This is give me the mood. I think it'll be, it's got a nice warm sky, which is kind of a sunrise or sunset sky with a reflection in the water, and some trees and maybe a mountain on the sides and so forth. So that's kind of get me started as far as the mood is concerned. And the sky, I want it to be a dramatic sky. I'm going to have it's going to be cloudy. You're going to see the sun rising or setting behind the clouds, but it's going to be a little cloudy there at the sunset. So that gives me an idea right there what to do in the sky. And then down the water, I want to have a reflection of water, maybe some rocks on the side, maybe a mountain edge on the sides over here. So this gives me some inspiration, some ideas. So mountains, a stream, a cloudy sky. The mood is going to be warm. It'll be a warm evening, a sunset with the reflections in the water. So that's the kind of references I use. Now I took those videos. Or excuse me, I took those photographs. I came up with a composition, and here's what I've got. I got the mountains over here on the side coming down. I've got the stream coming down here in the middle, and I'm going to have this overcast or cloudy sky with the sun coming down and reflected into the water down here. The water's that. This is a stream coming down this way, and I'm going to have a little in the foreground, a little bank here with some trees growing up. So that's my composition. This is an idea I had just from the photographs, but I come up with my own composition of that design work. So I'm going to use this here. I'm going to follow this more or less to start with, okay? Because it gives me some ideas. Okay, that's my design drawing. Okay, so I'm going to start out. This is my material. I've got a quarter sheet of Gemini watercolor paper. It measures 15 by 11 inches high, 15 inches wide, landscape format. And it's 140 pound Gemini watercolor archival. Very good paper. Over here on my palette, I'm going to just use the simple colors I have. Let me start with yellow ochre, burnt sienna down here in the bottom. I got a little bit of glycerin crimson here on the side, get warming up. And I got my ultramarine blue and a little bit of Payne's gray here mixed up together. Give me some darker values. So it's going to be kind of a very simple palette. And I'm going to use my Hake brushes to start out with, to get started. And then I'll clean up with a little rigger brush and so forth. But so that's how I'm going to get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is wet the sky. So I'll take the large brush and so we'll work a little bit wet on wet. It makes the paint move a little easier, a little faster, and a little bit smoother. So get the paper not soaking wet, but get it moist. So the paint will flow a lot easier. So working wet and wet. Okay, so it's covered now. It's moist. And you can see there. You can see from the glisten on the paper. The paper is wet. Okay, and I'll put that brush aside. Now I've got this tilted here a little bit. I got a 2x4 here. And so I'm going to have paper tilted so that the paints will run down a little bit. You know, a little gravity flow. Let the paint do its own thing. So I'm going to start out here with a little bit of yellow ochre and a little bit mixed in. I mixed in a little bit of lemon yellow to give me like a really almost a sienna color. Be a light mix here. So let's get that warmth in the sky, like a sunset. Not really driven to do that, but you know it'll be. Okay, that gets some of the yellow in the sky. It'll will dry down to a lighter color. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of ultramarine blue and some burnt sienna mixed in there. Give me a darker brown color, a warmer color. Then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to put in some clouds up here at the top. And I'm going to bring that down here on the sides also. This is where the shadows are at the bottom here. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that mixture here. It's a little bit of ultramarine blue mixed in with a little bit of burnt sienna, maybe a little bit of Payne's gray to give me a darker brown. Pick up a little more of that a little more of the ultramarine blue. Those clouds a little darker at the top. Okay, now I'm going to dry this. I'm going to dry this paper. So get my Ranger out. My Ranger blow dryer, craft tool, which gives me a nice quiet flow, so I can talk also while I'm going along here. But what I'm going to do is stretch the paper a little bit. When you wet the paper, it's going to stretch. So I use these clips now, these bull clips, to tighten up this paper again and keep the paper flat on the paper, on the board. Okay, I'm going to dry it up a little bit. Let's start out with a nice lighter color here of a sunset. For a mood, I got the yellow sky with some clouds. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of that mix I had, a little bit of ultramarine blue mixed in with burnt sienna. Got a little clouds coming across here. Soften up those edges just a little bit. Okay. I'll continue to blow dry. Okay, now take a towel here and pick up a little bit little cloud formation over here. So I'm blotting up some of the paint. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to start putting in some darker colors. Now, what I'm going to do now is going to mix a darker blue, ultramarine, mixed in with burnt sienna. A little bit of Payne's gray, maybe a little bit of Lutheran crimson. What I'm going to do here now is start putting in the mountains coming down the side here. So I'm going to start putting in the little details here. And right across here is a little bit of the landscape. I'll put a little peak across there. That's part of the land. And on the other side is another mountain over here, so I'm going to start here. That dark color. And this is another mountain section over here. Comes a little bit more forward. This section over here, I'm going to leave some little white areas, another little ridge line or something. It's got a little lighter value to it. Give a little interest here. And that dark color I'm going to come across here with I'll form my brush now. You see how sharp edge I get on the real sharp edge on the Hake brush. Put a little jet of land out here. Okay. Now I'll mix a little more burnt sienna and maybe a little more Lutheran crimson now. Get a little warmer as I come forward. Mixed in with that ultramarine blue. And a little bit of Payne's gray to darken it down more. A little more burnt sienna in the mix. And I'm going to come across here now with another little slope here, another part of the mountain coming down. As you come along here. And I'm going to put a little, again, form the edge of the Hake brush. A little sliver there of land popping out. I think what I can do here is I can also put in, while this is still damp, here's my credit card, and I can scratch in some rocks up here, for example, while it's still wet. This is the sun hitting some of those faces up there. And on this side I get indication. So I use this credit card to give me a little indication of rocks there on the side. Other side of the mountain. We're going to continue on now with a little more mixture here. Again, a little more burnt sienna mixed in with that ultramarine blue, maybe a little bit of Payne's gray, and then come on down here and put in some more of this landmass. Now on the side over here, I'm going to come in with a little bit of shadow over here on this side. Yeah, I'll pick up a little more burnt sienna on my brush. A little more burnt sienna on my brush. Not too wet. Don't want it too wet of a brush. I want to have like a like a medium moisture. And I'm going to put some touch of lighter value here because the sun is reflecting on some of this values of the land. So there'll be some lights and dark areas. So I'm going to put a little bit of burnt sienna in here, a little lighter value than this dark brown. It's kind of like a middle value here I have in this particular area here, a middle value. That's the rough part of the stream coming down from the mountain. And I can scrape in some, take my my credit card and scrape in some more rocks. On this mountainside. See, we got. Okay. Let me dry this. I'll take my Ranger. Okay, so we got the mountain and part of the stream bed in. Now I'll do some tweaking here on the edges, little edge control. First of all, we'll dry the paint here. So experimental, getting a very dramatic painting here with lots of lights and darks, with the sunset in the sky and the shadows, the backlit shadows of the landscape with the mountain stream coming down through the bottom here. Okay, all right. Now what I'm going to do now is going to go back here and I'm going to do a little adding a little more value now to some of these areas. So I'll mix up a dark value here of ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, a little bit of Payne's gray, Lutheran crimson. Same mixture I used before. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and add in some values now to this. So I want this to be dark. This is backlit, so I want this to be really dark up here. This section in here got some shadows. And down here in the foreground it's going to be darker also, just a little bit darker. A little bit of texture, there'll be some weeds down here and rocks and so forth. Give a little bit of texture. And on the other side, I'm going to pick up a little more of that burnt ultramarine blue, Payne's gray mixed in with that burnt sienna. And come in here and put some more value up here. A little bit darker. The edge here might be a little lighter because the sun's hitting that edge, but the section behind the sun here is going to be in shadow, so it's going to be backlit, so it'll have some darker value. Now forming a real sharp edge here with the Hake brush. Go back here and clean up some of these edges here. I want to clean up a little bit. A little more definition here on some of these edges of the riverbank. Yeah, okay. I'll clean out the brush, wash out the brush. I'm going to change color here. I think what I'll do is change brushes also. Here's a smaller brush. This is a small Hake. I'm going to pick up some of that yellow ochre now. And I'll go in and add a little more, add a little more texture to this area here. Got some tall grasses in there and part of the mountain where the sun's hitting part of that little ridge line. Soften up those edges a little bit, so wetting those edges, kind of let them flow together. Same way over here. Okay, that's pretty dramatic. Pretty dramatic. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do is add in some trees. What I'm going to do is going to take. Now what this is a sword brush rigger, sword brush liner actually, and I'm going to mix up some dark paint here. Sword brush rigger with a little bit of burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, and some Payne's gray. And I'm going to go in here now. I better dry this before I put that there. It's all wet, so let me dry it. I'm going to put that big tree in here and on the other side. So. And before I do that, though, I'm going to change the value here. This needs to have this area right in here. It's going to be lighter in the background, so take some of that yellow ochre. As I come forward, I'll get it darker. a graded wash over top of this value right here. Okay. So it lay up there, and as I come forward, it gets darker. The water gets darker, but it's further. It's in shadow. Okay. So let me dry that. So what I've done is I've put a lot of dark values here on the mountaintop and on the little ridge lines along here and the pathway of the water. I've gone in and changed add a little more value, a little more definition on the edges, and I changed this from the water here so that it's lighter there, and I come down, it's darker in the foreground to give depth to the painting. The lightest area is going to be in the sky. Okay, so let's put these trees in now. So I've got a little mixture here now with my. I'm going to use two brushes. I'm really going to use this dagger sword. It's a sword liner by Silver Brush, and then I'm going to put that right in here. Start out this way. A little bit dark, a little bit wider here at the bottom, the base. You can see the sword brush, it's got an edge to it, but it's also got a point. So the edge gives me the breadth of the stroke, and the point gives me the design I want. I can go to a point just like a rigger brush or a liner. Here's where the liner comes out. I just take the point of it, just pull it lightly. That gives me a nice fine point. Then I can use a broad edge of it to give me a little wider stroke with thickness. So this is a combination of rigger and flat brush. And I'm going to bring another branch out here, another large branch off of this tree. Okay, and then over here I'm going to make, now I use my rigger, this is a liner brush. And it's like a rigger, but it's also, they call them riggers and liners, so it's really this is really a liner brush. It's a small brush, it's like a number 4 round, but it's a rigger. I load the brush from the side. I'm going to drag this up here now. I'm going to put in some long branches here, long trunks. These trees are a little bit smaller. different configuration. Now I'm using a regular brush to put in some extra branches here, smaller branches. And over here I can do the same thing. Okay. Then what I'm going to do now with that, I'm going to take the yellow ochre and a small brush here. I'm going to dry the brush out. So take all the paint out of it, and go into the color. And here I'm going to go in and put in some leaves. Indication of foliage, a little bit of foliage on the branches up here. Real dry brush, really dry. Just hitting the paper with the brush, scraping it on the top, transferring the paint. Okay. And then on the bottom here, I got to do a little bit of adding a little bit of terrain here. So add more of that dark burnt sienna. Make a little hill mass down here for this tree. And over here, okay. Okay, and I'll give it a quick dry. Now just a final touch. I'm going to add a little more, the only small detail I'm going to take this small rigger brush. Load it up. And I'm going to put, down here on the horizon, I'm going to put a little sailboat. I'll just have them sailing off into the sunset. And in addition to that, we're going to put a few birds. Put a few birds in the air, okay? All right. Okay, that concludes my painting today, which is a mountain stream using the large brushes, the Hake brushes. And what I'll do now, let's put a mat around this. Let's see what it looks like. Let's put a frame around it. And I think I'll take the clips off, make it look a little bit better. It's still a little bit damp down here. I'm not going to worry about that right now. It's still a little damp at the bottom. Take these clips off, and then we'll put this mat around the edges. And then we have a pretty dramatic painting. With the sunset going through, with water coming down here at the bottom, and I got a sailboat flying out in the sunset, and I got some birds flying in the air. So, hey, that completes my drawing or painting for today. So let's go back to my main camera. Okay, well that was a lot of fun today, and I want to demonstrate again using large brushes, where you can't be really a lot of detail with them, but it'll cover the area really fast and give you a little bit of texture. And I really enjoyed doing it. The only detail I put in was with the sword rigger, which is a new brush from Silver Brush, and also a little bit of work with the liner brush to give me a little bit of detail. All right, so I'll be back next Thursday with another demonstration, and until then, also do Simply Drawing with Everett later on today. I'll have another video, and if you subscribe to my channel, you'll be notified of all those videos coming down the road. So give me a like and a thumbs up. I appreciate that. That helps my rating. So until next week, you all stay safe and stay cool. Boy, it's going to be warm out there today. It's very warm here. Almost, it's supposed to be, feels like 105 degrees outside. It's really warm. So take your water with you and stay cool. So until next week, the next video, take care. Bye.